Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you in particular, Ms. Lobna Assam, League of Arab States, the head of the Children and Family Department. Thank you for organizing this meeting and for allowing us also this opportunity to speak here today. Thank you, Mr. Abdel Basset bin Hassan, for the important words and the reflections you just made. It's a pleasure meeting you today as well. Thank you to UN colleagues, in particular, of course, UNHCR, UNICEF. I see also colleagues from other UN agencies here, and colleagues from the Global Campaign for Equal Nationality Rights. Really appreciate your presence as well and meeting you today as well. And importantly, thank you to all participants. I think it's really exemplary to have such a large congregation of experts to really make sure that this declaration is now acted on and implemented. So I'm very pleased to be with you here today. We all know that living without a legal identity is a reality that none of us wants to face ever in our lives. Yet it is a reality that we see, that some of us have experienced, that some of our family members may have experienced elsewhere. And I have seen and heard many stories around this in my career. They have been recounted to me as far back as when I was a student working with refugees and migrants in the Netherlands, that is where I'm from. It's a reality that touches the lives of men, women, and children. And women are particularly vulnerable in these situations, and hence also their children become particularly vulnerable. And I'm so glad we're here to discuss how to implement this historic Arab Declaration on Belonging and Legal Identity, and note that the draft plan of action also will have a section that speaks directly to the plight and the needs of women, and women in particular, and their children. And of course, also the importance of having a whole-of-society approach, as we heard earlier. The declaration acknowledges the specific vulnerabilities of internally displaced persons, refugees, women and children. It links issues of displacement related to conflict and acknowledges the specific needs that, to end the situation related to that of being stateless, of Palestinian refugees. And this, of course, remains particularly important and a particularly important discussion in this region. Women face distinct challenges in accessing information, in applying for citizenship, in receiving an identity card, in registering their children. And these need to be understood and discussed for a concrete action plan to take place. Women are also not in all countries able to confer their nationality to their spouses or their children, which of course makes the spouse particularly vulnerable in certain contexts, and their children. And this implies these women are pushed into poverty, unable to access education, employment, health, and protection services. It makes women more vulnerable to abuse, to violence, particularly also early and forced marriage and human trafficking. It breeds resentment based on a fear for the future, a fear from themselves, a fear for their children, a fear for their spouses. Stateless children suffer from cyclical poverty. Education is not available to them. They may see and suffer from violence without access to support services. And in the longer term, as they become adults, they may not be able to find decent employment. And in many cases, we see that that cycle of violence is very, very prominent. This is not only unfair, unequal, it's pure discrimination. And it's against the foundations of human rights, as highlighted in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It also harms social cohesion within communities and breeds radical ideas, no matter where in the world. The importance of sharing good practices related to reforms around nationality rules is paramount. And I think there's a lot of expertise in this region on the how-tos to do this, to implement these laws and make sure that this discrimination ends. We see a number of countries have reformed their laws in this region and grant women the right to confer nationality to their children on an equal basis with men. And so I'm very happy we will look into these critical laws and look at good practices to make sure that this discrimination ends and children are lifted out of poverty. As UN Women, of course, we stand ready to support in this regard. We continue, together with our other colleagues from ESQA, UNDP, UNFPA, to review laws that discriminate against women and are based on discrimination and also the effects on men and their children. We raise awareness around issues such as this, together, of course, with our partners, the League of Arab States and governments, but also other partners, academic institutions, human rights institutions. And we will continue, of course, to support based on requests. And at national level, we build capacities. We build evidence and data around issues such as this, really to make sure that actions are based on a foundation of knowledge. And I think that that is a critical area to look into. And of course, we work with our colleagues from the Global Campaign to end for equal nationality rights, to continue to campaigning in this area. And I very much look forward to the deliberations here today. My colleagues from UN Women will be present throughout the workshop, and here also to exchange ideas with you. And I thank again the League of Arab States, my UN colleagues, of course the colleagues from the Human Rights Institute, for organizing this event, and I particularly thank you here, who are here to share your knowledge and your wisdoms, and very much look forward to the outcomes of this workshop. Thank you so much.